Now, as said, originally most of my activities were live art based. So now I've taken it to canvas. It's basically a fusion and resurgence, so to speak, of abstract expressionism on actions, but to explore it from my perspective and see what develops. The thing about this process, I do not want to preconceive on any mark that is made. So it comes down to the viewer in the end who decides what they see. The whole process is accidental, and that is done with intent by me. I do not want to preconceive myself in determining what someone is going to be seeing. So it's a bit more like natural intervention, should we say, letting the, the physics of it, just happen. So on this score, let's see what happens. Although this simple technique of just whatever, I'm not even looking at this. It's, how shall we say, undetermined. Letting nature of the elements about, the physics of it, just dropping. Some would say metaphysics, but that is a whole debate in itself on what people suggest of the subject of abstract art, because it really does depend on the process of what people do and how, if there is intention, is there intention from the beginning, is subconscious, whether it's conscious, and indeed once a piece of artwork is, how can one put it, beyond the creative process, out of the reach of the artist, and it's placed in another time and space, and somebody else is viewing it, well, they will see it their way. by their own subjective proclivities. Bit of a word, that one, isn't it? Proclivity. What is your proclivity? It's but even paint on the surface, you had the first layer, which by intervention brush to canvas has left its marks, and then the accidental intervention of the paint indiscriminately being dropped to the canvas responds accordingly and forms shapes. You know, it could be construed that natural intervention holds a lot more sway than people realise, more than human intervention. And humans themselves, boy, do they like to intervene on rather a lot. So, this will basically be the first 2 layers. The paintings are made up of multiple layers. There's approximately, I don't know, 15 on average, least, if not more, and they tend to go through a process themselves. So, this is the first introduction, and I hope you enjoy the process. My name is Gaynor Evelyn Sweeney. I was born in Liverpool, England, 26th of December 1967. My profession is artist, curator and author. I studied and I graduated in art both in my bachelor's and my master's at Liverpool John Moores University, and primarily I started in portraiture and sculpture, but moved on to digital media and eventually performance art. My art and curator work, sometimes it crosses over, sometimes it's just my own practice, has been combined from live art interventions in various places, both in the public space and also within a gallery context. I've also done other site-specific work, which has looked at also at times technological advances, and significantly around that period of my work when it was all live art based. I've exhibited and performed in many different places as well, a lot of international events. These have ranged from the Liverpool Biennial, the Venice Biennial, Performance Art Festival, Hong Kong Biennial even. I've had digital work that was presented there, and the Berlin Kunstsalon. Now that was, yeah, someone I know who's a curator. And other projects have taken place in London, New York, Paris, Copenhagen, and a few other places wherever I've gone to as well, and I've been commissioned at times. My creative practice is set on live art, new media and digital technology. Prior initiatives I've looked at usually have considered body politics and liminality. There has been other subjects that I've looked at as well, but it's to consider new modes of expression, and particularly how ideas in disciplines can cross over and new ideas to be derived, as well as new modes of expression as well, and looking at alternative means to do that. Some of the things that I've looked at have been optical engineering, robotics even, and biotechnology at one stage. I have another interest as well, which is a sideline to my professional activities. That is where I have a charitable interest to donating my time and materials free to run workshops in socially deprived areas where there are children, and, you know, other groups of people as well, but to allow others to learn through creative process something about themselves and about the world about. And that is something I've always enjoyed, absolutely always enjoyed. I've found it very rewarding, where others gain something, a positive experience, and I prefer that. I prefer that aspect of it. I was described as avant-garde in my creative practice, mainly, you know, in the early histories of it. I was also told I was provocative. I don't know where they got that one from. And also an activist. And the reason why that got attached to me was because of how I took an interest not just in my art practice, but in people and society itself. Because at times the arts can be quite self-indulgent, and significantly it is very heavily dictated by elite groups, shall we say. And I've always tried my best to take creativity back to the people, and hence why I had the sideline as well. So I had my own practice, both as an artist, curator and author, and I would do the other ventures where it was actually taking art back, taking culture back to where it belongs. And culture comes from society anyway, so that's where it belongs. It just ends up becoming a commodity in the arts market. Another thing that was said about me was I have a social conscience. To some, you know, they would deem that a weakness, but to me it's not. It's part of me, and I can't help who I am. I can't help, you know. Someone said to me professionally, "You will not play the game." Well, if the game's corrupt, no, I will not. I only know about doing things on my own steam and merit, and making things happen from the ground up if need be. I do not rely on anyone, and nor will I. It's but I have to do things on my terms, honestly, and that's only what I know. I don't know anything else, you know. Art is an expression, a response to the world about. We are observers of it, but equally so we cannot ignore our place within it either. We are part of it, and life itself integral therein. It is a moral obligation to each other by respect, and if we can do, to extend the hand to another, always where needed. If we fail at the most basic, then we not merely fail another, but we fail ourselves and humanity as a whole. For upcoming projects, you can find out more information at www.GaynorEvelynSweeney.webs.com.